Millward may lead the points, but the number to look out for is 2. Freesia has 2 second-place finishes, sits second in the points, and is only 2 markers behind in the championship. But often, we see Gernot sporting the number 1 on his car due to his I-rating. Will today be the day he matches that number at the top of the podium? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 4 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Stefan Schlacher. Behind the scenes is our director, Ryan Bauer, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Hockenheim returns for the second time on the Lotus 79 schedule. Let's head to our track guide in case anyone missed it last season. Welcome to Hockenheim. Located just an hour away from the border of France, this is a German track whose nature has changed drastically over its history. Once an eye-watering blast through long straights in the forest, it has since been truncated to its current format. With 6 different layouts ranging between 2.5 and 4.5 kilometers containing 13 to 16 turns, depending on which you choose, it's got something for just about every level of racing. This means it would fit everything from club cars up to Formula One. And that's perhaps what it's most well known for. One of the regular hosts for the German Grand Prix, it has been the scene of multiple dramatic moments, some triumphant, some tragic. Its redesign in the early 2000s gave it a few well-placed overtaking spots. The Parabolica entrance can create a good sneak attack, but even if you don't get it done there, the huge run towards the tight and slow Spitz curve is the place most well known for overtakes. If neither of those work, on rare occasions, Mercedes Corner can see drivers manage to pass one another. While the straights certainly aren't as long as the old version, it still requires a good deal of top speed to be competitive. But driver beware. Throttle control can often make or break your lap on the latter half of the circuit. All in all, German race fans can be assured to find great action no matter your tastes in racing at this fantastic venue. Well, Steph, we come back here, and last time it gave us a good show, but what do you think this time? Will these cars suit this place well?
Well, on paper, yes, Joe, but the real problem comes in with the F1 style, or new style curbs Hockenheim uses, especially the Nordkurve, turn 1. That is your main problem point. You're gonna see these cars really try to avoid most of the curbs we see all around the place, but especially down at the Nordkurve. 4.57 kilometers in length, 2.84 miles that is as well for you Americans out there, and it's gonna be all about speed. This track loves speed. It was back in the days, it still is, especially with a long run into the Spitzkehre through the Parabolica. Look out for late dives down into that corner. It's gonna be a real mess, maybe into the first run down there, but I expect a very great race.
Drivers are hopefully used to it by now since they've had it around for at least a season. But let's take a look at the championship. And as I mentioned, only 2 points between Millward and Freesia. Kochi and Tolinen are in a little bit of a tussle for the 3rd position in the points as Ove Trankere finds himself down in 5th. Quite a ways back, unfortunately, from the main of that group. What about the Classic Teams Championship here, Steph?
Well, we have the Warsteiner iRacing team right now in 1st place. 80 points to the names of Kochi and Coraini. With the Scuderia Ferrari just 4 points behind. That's Tolinen and Takabori. 3rd place, Equipe Renault Elf, 8 points back. That's Fritsch and Morland in that team with Unipar Racing Team Ensing, 14 points back. And Aliblatt Williams Racing, that's the Tuck and a Banker, just 16 points behind. So after the rounds we have seen thus far, still a very close race.
Now, for today's race in particular, they've got 32 laps to try and complete, and they have an open setup in this series, but they're usually pretty free with one another about sharing information and trying to get competitive sets in the hand of anybody who wishes to, so that everybody can try and race. And they have some incidents to worry about. Now, that's going to be a talking point today. As was mentioned by Steph, it's an F1 style, modern F1 style track, so they have lots of paved runoff, which means it can be easy to rack those up around here. Either get a drive-through or a full-on disqualification. Hopefully we won't see that, but right now We are underway with the qualifying. 2 bonus points are on hand at this track, and considering how close it is up at the front, I have a feeling that there's going to be some extra impetus for our quick drivers to try and get that quickest time.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Not only that, but also the pole position is quite important here at Hockenheim Ring. You wouldn't really expect that from a fast track like this with long straights, but in reality, the third and first sector are still old school. It's 1956 that this track got built, and those parts of the track never got widened ever, except for a small change in turn 1 where it actually did get wider. But apart from that, this is still an incredibly narrow circuit, and it's still very hard to pass.
Lakochi has our provisional pole right now over Turk, so looking good for him, but we're still waiting for guys like Freesia to come around and see if they can do one better. Don't have Alex Millward here today to try and keep back Gernot from getting points over him, but they will have drop weeks come in later in the season, so expect that to even them out. But for now, we're counting everything just to get us a feeling of where everybody sits. You see Gernot coming down the Parabolica up to the Spitzkara. You know, the other thing I wonder about is some of these slower corners here, like this hairpin. This car not really known to like those.
Not at all, but the real problems comes in at the exit of the what is probably known as the Mercedes Arena, even though it doesn't really have an official name. That right-hander that we're soon gonna see Gernot Fritzsche go through, it is heavily banked to the outside. So with the wide tires this car has, it's already quite tricky. But there is so much off camber in this corner. You were able to see how much Gernot was struggling right there. And that's what I mean. It's so tricky to get all the power down there because of how off cambered that corner is.
Seppa now takes the fastest time, and Kochi gets it right back immediately by half a second. So it is a wide gap at the front, but this is the first time lap for Freesia as we ride on board with him now through the south curve and onto the front stretch. Let's see what he's got underneath him on the first time of asking. It's going to be a 27.2. That'll be good enough for 5th, but not even onto the front row yet. We look at Williams now as he takes the 8 out of the stadium section. Let's see what he's got as well. Dubois a bit surprisingly far down in 6th, I would say. Usually see him a little higher up than that. Paul Williams has a 27.3 on that last and final lap. That'll put him into 7th.
Big question though is Gernot Fritzsche, can he better his lap? He is still about 9/10 away from Nicola Kochi, and we know Fritzsche, that's not where he wants to be. He wants to be where his number says he should be, on that number 1 spot. Once again, a little bit of a slide through the Mercedes Arena for him, and dives now into Mobile 1 Kurve. Will this be his lap?
So we watch him now into the stadium section. Ahead of him, his Renault teammate Moreland is just coming out of there with his second lap. I'm keeping an eye on both to see what they can do. Only 2 drivers have yet to set a time with about 1.5 minutes left to go. Moreland does not improve. What about Freesia as he crosses the line? He's got the number 1 on his car again, and the 26.9 will not put him in the number 1 spot, but he will jump up to 3rd.
Second row, still a good row for Gernot Fritzsche. It is 6/10 that he is back, but nobody else but Gernot Fritzsche can most definitely make up such a deficit.
And that's everybody with the time down. So we've got 27 cars here today, starting from the grid. Hopefully we'll see all 27 at the checkered flag. This is Borrell just getting some more practice in before we go racing today. Good news is, looks like Germany's providing us some pretty good weather here, Steph.
Yeah, most definitely. Hockenheim always known for good weather, except for that one time F1 showed up in 2020, I think, or was it 2019? I don't remember, but 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 87 degrees Fahrenheit on the track. That's 31 degrees Celsius. So a very nice track temperature, what you see on most spring days. Mostly cloudy, the weather is as well, so that's kind of explaining why we have such a low track temperature. 21 degrees Celsius air temperature with quite some high winds. We have to keep that in consideration because it is 21 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, could knock them off in a few places, but with qualifying done, let's go through our starting order. It is Nicola Kochi who has it on the pole with Severi Seppa starting next to him. Then it is Gernot Friesche starting from third, as Michael de Turk will be fourth. Timothy Reed, P5, followed by Dubois in sixth. Paul Williams, P7. To his outside, it is Hovdal. You've got Thomas Torp starting ninth, and Saum will round out your top 10.
11th place goes to Cristiano Corraini. 12th place, that's the 11 of Pablo Suarez. Pekka Kalahara in 13th, Paolo Alberton 14th. 15th went to Javier Mosquera. John Takabury takes home 16th place in qualifying with Nicolas Mucanos in 17th place. The 21 of Thomas Delmuth in 18th, Miguel Morland 19th, and running out your top 20 in this qualifying is Barry West.
Gabi Vivas in 21st will be followed by Guerrero in 22nd. Surratt starts P23. Then it's been Wales in the 24th, followed by the last driver to get a time on Carrera in 25th. Burrell and Nally will start at the back of the field. So we get ready to go with just a couple more cars, as we've got Hovdal and Carrera waiting to get to the grid. Then we've got 32 laps around Hockenheim for round 4 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. Can we see Friesche finally get his first win of the season? Or will Kochi be able to find his way back to the top of the points? He's already got one win to his name so far this year, as looks like we just about got everybody out there now. And the number 26 is going to try and start from pit lane. He's already coming from back in the field in the qualifying, and he is not gridding up. So I think we are heading off with only 26 of them lining up for the grid. With that, the engines now start to rev as the lights come up. And the green flag is out. Oh, it's a very poor start for fourth place. Oh, and a spin in the middle of the pack. That's Dubois. A couple cars are going to get into it, but they pile off into the grass. Only 4 collected. That could have been so much worse.
Yeah, my goodness. I'm not 100% sure how that worked out, but yeah, that's 4 or 5 cars already pretty much out there running. But apart from that, it's a very clean start, I have to say, through turn 1.
And Kochi's already making good on that clear track in front of him. As look at second place. That is Seppa with Friesche to his outside as de Turk almost makes it 3 wide for a moment. Side by side down into the Spitzkura. Seppa around the outside. Friesche taking the tighter line. And out of the corner, he gets much better traction.
Yeah, good job there by both Friesche and de Turk to jump on that opportunity and get Seppa into the Spitzkehre for the very first time. Still extremely clean, honestly a little bit cleaner than I thought it will be the first time around into the Spitzkehre.
Yeah, so far so good. That opening incident at the start was all we had to worry about. Is once again side by side for second. Friesche being challenged by de Turk, and he's going to manage to get past him, but can he hold on to it as he still has the Sachs curve and he's on the outside, but the job is done, and the 6th car goes from 4th to 2nd on the first lap.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a mistake by Gernot Friesche that opened up the door for de Turk. I have to say, a little bit aggressive also by de Turk to go into Mobile 1 Kurve too wide. That's not advisable because of how much that track narrows in there, but a very great job by both drivers to keep it clean.
Yeah, it's a surprisingly swift corner, but rare we see passes, and that time it worked as we come down into the Parabolica entry once again. And man, Kochi is really trying to scamper away early. He's already got a 2.5 seconds over those around him.
I wouldn't count out Michael de Turk here. He started in 4th place, now up to 2nd after just 1 lap, and he really was storming through those 2 places. So if he can somehow get a little bit away from Fritsch and Seppa, he might have the pace to keep up with Koji and maybe even close in that gap now.
We're on board with the Finn currently. As we come down into Mercedes, he's being chased by Hovdal as well, up 3 spots since the start. Managed to avoid the spin happening in front of him on the grid and back into the stadium section once more. These 4 starting to fan out just a little.
Yeah, just a little. The Turk has the pace right now, so it will be interesting if he can keep up with Koji. As already said, this is going to be the pointer for us. What will the pace say between Koji and the Turk? Oh, the Turk spins!
Oh, from 2nd place, and thankfully he doesn't get hit by anybody, but he's having to patiently try and get the car turned around, not wanting to go in front of anyone, all the way down to 21st place after that spin. This is going to be a long race for the number 6 car now.
Maybe he was pushing a little bit too hard for how his car was set up. So very unfortunate for the Turk. There we can see at the end of his spin once again. Yeah, the Turk, like, just looking at the times that Fritsch was doing, 28.5 versus a 28.0 from Koji. I nearly want to say that the Turk was actually faster than Koji that lap because of how much he did open up the gap to Fritsch. So yeah, maybe just that little bit too much of pushing, and that's why he lost his car.
So you see him coming off the Spitzkehrer. He already is looking to the inside of Serret, and I think he's going to have that one pretty easily. Oriol had a bit of a moment there coming into the arena and had to catch the car in a big way. So already picking him off one by one as that Williams car is going to try and patiently get as high as he can. Can't quite do it in the Mobile One this time, as Vivas is not having any part of that.
Oh, but look at that, the dive bomb of the century from the Turk into the Sachskurve, and he makes easy work of Vivas, who also has a little bit of damage. I can see there on his rear wing on the left side there on your screens. So Gabi Vivas most definitely not fighting a fair fight.
Let's head back to Fritsch, because Seppa's now starting to put some pressure on. It's down to 0.3 of a second. Obviously, Gernot and Severi have been promoted to 2nd and 3rd after that spin from the Turk. So the stakes a little bit higher now, and they are pulling away from Hovdal behind them, who qualified a bit back. So not sure that he's really going to have the legs, but you never know.
Yeah, Hovdal most definitely starts to fall a little bit away. 0.5. He was slow last lap around, and once again, are you just perfectly on board there with Matthias as he starts to struggle a little bit with his car once again sideways through the exit out of the Mercedes arena. So Hovdal a little bit more occupied with fighting with his car another time through the Mobile One curve, and then he is really able to get any lap time out of that.
You talked about this being a very fast circuit, even in its modern incarnation, Steph, but we know Hovdal from the Camel Series for liking to trim out the cars to an extreme degree sometimes. Do you think maybe he's taken too much out here and that's what's causing him all these issues?
It definitely seems like that, but it might also just be that maybe he wasn't able to invest as much time into this setup as he would normally like to. Definitely seems like he is struggling more than usual with his cars, and well, no, as you said, he loves to trim out his cars, and might just be that because of how much this track demands from you aero-wise, he might have gone a little bit too far.
As the battle for 8th, we also unfortunately lost Paolo Alberton, who had a wreck in the first corner. Looks like he is now out of this one, is down into the Spitzkehrer one more time around the outside. Thomas Torp fending off Coriani, but barely. Cristiano on board with him into Mercedes. Lost a lot of time from that pinch down into the hairpin, and he's going to go wide as Mascara easily slips through.
Greetings from the underfloor there towards Cristiano, because that was heavily over the sausage curb and then even on the outside curb as well. That most definitely didn't do too good to his undercarriage.
Also had a spin from Vivas in the 24. Didn't hit anything. He kept it going. So already drivers starting to struggle a little bit with certain parts of this track. Once again, turning our attention to Seppa and Freesia, still only split by about half a second. For all we've been talking about the difficulties of Hovdal, he's only about 8 to 9 tenths behind, so he's not losing too much ground. Now back to Michael de Turk. How far has he got? Looks like 16th right now.
Yeah, de Turk starting to move his way through the field. There's another pass
Make that 15th.
Right on board with him. Yeah,
One
that
more.
was on Thomas Delmuth. So he is most definitely working his way now. There's a big gaggle of cars ahead of him. So I'm pretty sure in the next few laps he will gain a lot of positions. Might even be the next one right here. Let's see, Moreland, will he go to the inside? Yes, he will. Good on the brakes, obviously. A little bit too late, but makes it work with a little bit of a block pass.
So up to 14th now. He's having an easy time with these cars, but once he gets to the top 10, it might be a little bit harder to try and overtake. And up next on his list is Borel in the 16. So, ooh, bad exit, though, out of the arena. And you can see how much time he lost as we now look up at Freesia and Seppa down to 3 tenths once again. Oh, and this isn't looking good for Gernot.
Yeah, it really isn't. He's a little bit of a bottleneck here for second and third place. But also what I like to see is these guys are starting to really get comfortable with the curbing outside of turn 1. Starting to be more aggressive through turn 1, take more of that curb as well. So carry more speed through as well. But still, they continue to be much slower than Nicola Kochi. Last lap, Nicola Kochi at 27.987, whereas Gernot Freesia 28.875, nearly a full second slower than what Nicola Kochi has been doing.
You can see the comparison on your screen. I wonder, since these cars are known for really getting a lot lighter when the fuel burns off, do you think maybe that helps them maybe get a little bit braver with some of these curbs?
Probably also because your rear of the car is going to be higher and higher up, so that also will help with the curbs. So we might also see them get even more aggressive as the race continues.
Sorry, we had a problem with the Turk. Another one with the Turk, and this time in the Spitzkara. I think he had some help on this one. Cristiano in the 15, unfortunately going to make some contact, send the car 4 wheels into the air.
So let's have a look then what is going to happen. So he goes 3 wide here, and moves over right in the braking zone on Cristiano Coraini.
Yeah, just touched wheels, not something you want to do in an open wheeler, and oh, he drifted right in front of him. I think you're right there.
Racing 101.
Yeah, don't move in the braking zone unless you know you are clear. And he clearly was not as we come back to the Turk, and he's back to 18th again. So lost a lot of the ground that he had made up. And Seppa, if we go back to the number 4, is still only 2 tenths behind Freesia. Once again, not close enough there into the Spitzkara. As Hovdal, for a brief moment, was down to about 7 tenths of a second. Looks like he's lost a lot of that once again. And don't count out Timothy Reed. You can see glances of him in the blue and red in the background. This is all still to play for, and we're not even halfway through.
Yeah, most definitely. Also, one thing that I'm a little bit shocked about is watching Gernot's car. It moves around a hell of a lot. There's just so much unsettlement in that rear of his car that it really is uncharacteristic of what Gernot Freesia normally has car-wise. Like if you go on board, just look at that correction right there. 2 turn-ins on the Südkurve, and then once again a little bit of a correction coming out of it, and it just continues like this every single corner. I mean, the Lotus 79, it really doesn't use any kind of tire. Like he won't notice any difference to like Seppa behind. But it wears you out, it drains you out, because you have to fight so much more with your car rather than just concentrate and be fast. You have to fight your car, you have to concentrate that you don't lose your car. So I wouldn't be surprised if when Severi starts to really put pressure onto Gernot, that we might actually see a mistake from Fritsche.
We hop over to battle for ninth. This is Takabury with Mukanos. Nick coming over from the Camel Series, and looks like he's got a good slipstream down the Parabolica. Can he finish the job, though? You have to hit that brake marker just right, and he's given plenty of space off of the side of the road. He's going to be pinched down a fair bit. Oh, but they're both going to continue to give each other a wide bit of room. Takabury gives it up as Nick moves into ninth.
Yeah, great pass there by Mukanos. Not really ninth place. I don't think that's really where Mukanos expected to be here today. I think he would love to be much higher up. But yeah, it seems like he just is struggling ever so slightly with his pace as well. Quite a deviation there in his laps. But maybe now that he is free of John Takabury, he might be able to go up to 8th place and now even overtake Thomas Topp.
Yeah, it's only a second and a half up there to him, so he could try and gain that. Now we're looking at Burrell. He had a spin.
Suarez is spun. 7th place, Pablo Suarez, number 11, just spun on entry of the Südkurve.
He did that all on his own. Let's take a look at it. Surprisingly, not involving the curb. Here it is through the Sachs curve. I thought for sure that I would check the replay and see him hit that bump to the outside, but no.
Yeah, just it already starts going into that right-hander before the Südkurve. A little bit wide, a little bit loose already on entry, and then just on applying throttle, too much for the rear, says goodbye, and around she goes down to 11th place. The 11 now is.
As that was happening, I was mentioning we were looking at Burrell. He had a spin on the front stretch a couple laps ago, and that's why he is now down in 18th, having lost a lot of time there. So mistake mitigation seems to be a big talking point here, Steph. We're seeing a lot of drivers with good runs ruined.
Yeah, I mean, with the turn that we just saw, the 11 spin there, it is a little bit weird because it doesn't seem like much, just like any other corner here, but there is a little bit of a camber change here. It is off-cambered on entry, it's cambered on the apex, and once again off-cambered on the exit. So a little bit weird on how you have to transition through that corner. So I'm not surprised we do see some problems there, a lot of loose cars through there because of just how it is. And a lot of corners here are off-cambered. It's just the nature of this track, especially here. The Einfahrt Parabolica, very off-cambered here as well. So these guys most definitely struggling a hell of a lot with their cars, but at the same time, if you can get it right, if you can let your rear hang out, and that's most definitely what this Lotus 79 also loves to do, it can be extremely fast.
Don't need to go to a replay, but Mosquera made an unscheduled visit to the drag strip, had a spin. He falls to 12th position. As we continue to watch Seppa just behind Fritsche. This is a game of pressure between these two. Credit to Gernot. He's been holding on and denying Severi this position for a number of laps. Just doesn't seem like the Finn can get close enough, and Gernot not making the mistakes that Severi needs.
Yeah, but as long as they continue like this, Seppa, just look at this once again. A little bit of a mistake there. We were able to see it on the onboard from Fritsche. Just he is struggling so much with that car that Seppa is easily able to stay with him. Just once again misses the apex by 2-3 meters. That is not much, but on the level that these guys are driving on, that can be the difference between not having a chance to pass to having a chance to pass. So I wouldn't be surprised now that Seppa also starts to move a little bit left and right, that he is on the hunt for that second place, and this was a good exit.
Yeah, you could see him as we rode on board. He was kind of poke his nose out there coming up to the entry and just decided to get back in line. He's trying to get in the head of that number one car. We look over the rear of the Renault back to Seppa, and he's not going to have it once again down into the Spitzkara. getting close to that halfway mark in this race. Will the handling start to change? Will the speed potentially start to change between the drivers, as these things do tend to alter their characteristics as the fuel gets lighter and lighter?
Seppa most definitely has the speed right now over Fritsche. He wasn't really able to pressure Fritsche in the first half of this race, but now since lap 10, Severi really is starting to put that pressure down. He is right now the faster Lotus 79 of these two, and he wants this position sooner rather than later. But this is the man right now, Nicola Kochi, first place, about 8 seconds right now ahead of the two guys fighting for second. And I tell you, Joe, I have a feeling that Fritsche won't be too much longer in that second place, because another mistake through the North Kurve.
Well, I'm sure the virtual German fans will appreciate the Warsteiner car coming home to victory lane today if he can just complete this one. He's got the pace. All he has to do is keep it safe from here with a 9-second gap. And Seppa just looks so achingly close from these longer shots, but once we get on board, you can see the distance between himself and Fritsche. And braking, he closes it in, takes it down to the apex, tries to square off the exit once more, but for some reason that one car has such great grip coming off the slow corners. He's been keeping Seppa at bay handily exactly when he needs to.
Yeah, but there, another mistake from Fritsche. We're nicely able to see how sideways he was through the entry of the Mercedes arena. And yeah, Fritsche has most definitely tuned his car for the infield here, for the arena, through Sachsenkurve into Südkurve. But Seppa is much faster through the medium and high-speed corners. The real problem comes in, yes, the Lotus 79, we have a very long straight here. Look at this, Seppa even has to brake on the apex to not run into the back of Fritsche. But the problem is, these cars are so drag efficient because all their downforce comes from the undercarriage that the draft really isn't that strong in this car. So that very long run down through the Parabolica into the Spitzkehre, it just isn't enough for a draft pass to really happen.
Yeah, even our director at one point during the qualifying was mentioning in the background that Frisch's gearing sounded weird. And I wonder if that's what he was hearing, that the car was set up for the low speed corners to really just get the launch. And there's a great example of the onboard right there. Once again, just streaks away from him as they start to pick up speed. And in the background, remember we had Hovdal there earlier. Well, these two are running a pretty good pace because they've now split themselves by about 3 seconds. You could barely see him in that number 3 at this stage.
Yeah, most definitely. Matthias Hovdal, he's not doing anything wrong. He's running his race, but just his race isn't good enough to be up there with second and third. But Seppa, now he also starts to make some small mistakes. You were able to see it on board with Fritsche looking out the rear, that Seppa had a little bit of a moment there on the apex of the left-hander at the Mercedes arena. So it is not out of the question that these guys make a mistake and all of a sudden we have Hovdal on the podium positions. One thing is sure though, even though he's already up to 13th, Michael de Turk will not play a part anymore in that podium battle.
Credit to him for not giving up, though. He's still chipping away at things, and quite a bit of damage, it seems, on the nose of Paul Williams in that number 8. So I wonder if he'll be a sitting duck once they get to the Parabolica. And damage on the car in front of them as well. That's Cristiano in the 15 who we made the contact with before. Okay, then. Steph, we got round 2 between Cristiano and de Turk coming up.
The good thing is for the Turk that he didn't receive any damage from it, because that hit was purely on his right rear. He doesn't even have any rear wing damage, so that is good for the Turk. But obviously he is still outside the top 10. Even though we have 10th place not too far ahead of him, that's still Pablo Suarez, as we might actually have a pass here right ahead of him between Williams and Corrini. But nope, not gonna happen. Williams sits back, but this, look at now, the Turk right on the back of these two.
It does look like Cristiano was suffering on straight line speed because Williams reeled him in from a ways back. And unfortunately, they're not in the fast parts right now. As little wide goes Coriani. And unfortunately, that opens up the over-under. And Williams has the inside coming up to Mobile 1 and completes the pass.
Yeah, but wait for it. Here comes the Turk now in the background, side by side with Cristiano. Cristiano loses it on the inside.
Keeps it from going completely around and also avoids beaching it there on that inside curve. So he goes down to 14th. The Turk gets one spot out of that. Let's take another look. Is he just in too deep, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. In too deep, a little bit too hard on the brakes as well. But he was lucky to not lose it completely to the outside because it really wasn't all that much room left between the Turk and the rear of Coriani. So yeah, good job for Cristiano to not completely lose it into the Turk and make that second time contact with Michael.
We hop back on board. He's into 12th once again, which is about as high as he got before. Remember, he qualified 4th if you're just joining us, so he has the speed to go much higher up the order as long as the car isn't too damaged. You can see a little bit on the wing, and he's already approaching Paul Williams once again after having to put that move on Cristiano at the stadium section last lap.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the damage from the Turk on the front wing is more down to curb strikes rather than actual bumping into someone. As Nicola Cocci, another fastest lap for him. I think that's the 5th or 6th fastest lap in a row for him with a 27.337. Obviously, very far off the pace of that is Michael the Turk with how stuck he is in traffic. Last lap for him at 29.547.
Stalking Williams through here. Yeah, little bobble.
Another bobble there for Williams. This might already be over at the entry of the Parabolica.
Yeah, he's approaching. And he's not quite close enough here. I think the corner exit's going to be the key part. Ooh, much tighter to the apex there for the car of the Turk, and he's already reaping the rewards.
And there we can see now the Turk, obviously much more trimmed out car than Paul Williams. If you're not comfortable with the Lotus 79, you're always going to run a more downforce, but this obviously also helps you with the braking. But a little bit too confident with the brakes Paul Williams is, so he is not going to be able to defend this position, but a little bit better on the exit than the Turk. However, the top speed of the Turk better, so he is taking away that 11th place. And Nicola Cocci, another fastest lap.
He's been just grabbing them left and right, and let's see, actually for second place, he's got 0.6 of a second over Frisch's fastest lap. That tells you the sort of runs that Cocci is getting up there. Now that this battle is done, as we turn our attention back to Frischa and Seppa, I want to give a little love to the number 5 machine, Nick Mukanos. He started this race in 17th. He is up 9 positions into 8th spot right now. Nobody really around him, so he's kind of running a quiet race now that he's managed to find his own little area of the track. But even if he doesn't gain anymore, he's got to be pretty pleased with himself.
Yeah, most definitely Nicolas Mukanos. He has a little bit of front wing damage as well, as you can see, but once again, that just is down to a little bit of a curb strike, maybe into the Mercedes arena. That sausage curb on the inside is quite high. The curb is very narrow, so very easy to pick up a damage there. Yeah, Nicolas Mukanos, as I said, he is in the no man's land pretty much. He has booked that for himself. 7 seconds up ahead and like 4-5 seconds to the rear to John Tackerbury, and he's losing him fast as well. So really nothing much to do for Nicolas, because also Thomas Torp ahead. He is about half a second faster per lap.
Back to Seppa, still 7/10 behind, and this gap has been a little bit wider for some time between Gernot and Severi. I'm not sure if Seppa's just having more trouble keeping up with him, or is he maybe backing off to take care of the car, waiting for a charge later? We can see the lap comparisons on screen. And yeah, last 3 laps been slower by about 1/10, if not half a tenth on lap 16.
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure anymore what is going on between Seppa and Fritsche. I mean, Fritsche, he's leading comfortably, sort of, this battle. He only has to worry about Seppa. Haftal is no match whatsoever. Last lap 28.9 versus a 28.3 and 2 for Seppa and Fritsche respectively. So they are losing him by half a second consistently per lap. So Fritsche only has to worry about Seppa in behind. And the question is, with how they have set up their cars and especially their gearing, I wonder that Fritsche is just so much stronger through the Spitzkehre Einfahrt that he happily can sit there not defending the Spitzkehre itself, because he just gets always such a good launch that Seppa loses about 2 car lengths consistently to Fritsche right through this corner that just Seppa has no answer. And also Seppa's driving style seems to be like fast in and slow out, so to speak, because he just is so much later on the brakes consistently than Fritsche. You're gonna be able to nicely see this now here in the braking zone, the hardest braking zone of this track. He really closes in, and then on the exit loses quite a lot.
Also got a bit of a battle happening back here. This is Takabury with Suarez behind him and De Turk. So things closing in, and we could have a 3-car fight as we fly through the Parabolica. Ooh, Suarez looks very fast in a straight line. I'm not sure that John's going to have much defense here. He doesn't pull off to cover the inside, and sending it down to the apex, Suarez gets himself into P9.
Yeah, but in behind, Michael De Turk looks determined to get inside the top 10 at least. Still, 9th place not too far away. There is the 10th place right away going into the Mercedes Arena. Easily done. 9th place just ahead of him, and 8th place, let's have a look, how much is that to Nicolas Mucanos? Even he, I don't think is very safe of these guys, because it is only 4.5 seconds.
And Turk's now got himself within the top 10. Let's see what seems realistic from here, as he's about 44 seconds behind the leaders. Definitely Suarez's spot is realistic as he's hounding him immediately. Gets up behind that number 11 car down the pit straight. Next one up, Mucanos, about 4.5 seconds up the road, so he'll have some time to try and put some fast laps and try and catch him. And based on what we saw last time, we're going to see the pass down into the Spitzkehre here. Once again, much better through the Parabolica entry there for De Turk, and it just gives him a beautiful run down the Parabolica.
Yeah, De Turk, he is closing in. That's the difference in a wing setup right there. Much more trimmed out for De Turk, but just not close enough, not comfortable enough to go on the dive for Pablo Suarez. And the thing I can already tell you, I think if we can get past Suarez, Mucanos, that 8th place is about as high as he will go. And look at that, to the inside, maybe too late. No, gets it stopped. Nicely done by Michael De Turk, up to 9th place.
I'm a bit surprised. I thought for sure he was heading off into the paved runoff area there. As we take another look at this move by De Turk. Knew where he wanted his braking point. Once he got that opening, slam on the binders, and just keeps it within the bounds. Now, let's not forget, he's probably got a 4X from that one contact he had. He's had some offs. He has to watch out that he doesn't hit that 17 incident limit and gets a drive-through penalty. So he does have to try and keep this within the bounds and keep it safe for the remainder of the race, which is about 11 laps to go. Currently going to be 10 pretty soon, with Kochi actually heading into the stadium section here in a moment as we will come back to Paul Williams.
Yeah, and while we're on board here with Williams, I just realized Morgan Soon had a spin on lap 21 through the Mobile 1 Kurve. That dropped him back into 7th place. He is now only about 2-3 seconds ahead of Nicolas Meccano. So all of a sudden, Michael the Turk could potentially be looking at a 7th place because of that one spin from Morgan Zoom.
Williams did get that spot from Tackerberry down into the Spitzkara. So he's up into 11th now. Williams, another one just out of position here as he started from 7th place. We've lost a few cars. Burrell, Vivas, Albertson, Kalahara, Dubois, Wales, and Nally are the ones who have prematurely retired from this event. But we still have 20 of them running. And it's good to see that we've at least got that many trying to see the checkered flag, going hard at it.
Morgan Zoom, another mistake from him. This time through the Südkurve, so Morgan Zoom most definitely struggling quite heavily. And this obviously gives more opportunities to both Meccanos and the Turk to close in that gap to him.
Not been a good day. We're going to take a look at the replay here. Who's already out of sorts on the entry. And whoa! That is perhaps the very definition of a tank slapper.
Yeah, most definitely. Morgan Zoom just a little bit too aggressive here already on the entry. And then behind the lap car, loses it completely on the throttle application. Great save though by Zoom. But as you can see, that car in the blues, that is already Nicolas Meccano's, and right behind him the white car. Cars rather, that was Michael Turk and Pablo Suarez.
Oh, Mascara with another problem in this Spitzkara. I don't know if this involved, yeah, it did involve another car. And unfortunately, it's Cristiano in the 15 again. This is going to be wheel-to-wheel contact like before, except this time on the exit. Let's take a look at the replay.
Yeah, so let's have a look here. Looking at, I think that is Javier right there. 13th place for him right now, the 13. And oh my goodness, that dive bomb, and oh, goes flying.
Thankfully, does not go flying into the wall, just kind of gets popped off to the side. You're gonna watch from, I don't know, was he trying to pass or did he just brake later than he anticipated?
Honestly, I have no clue. It does look a little bit like he wanted to brake that late. Maybe it is just a difference in experience with this car. One braking very early because he's not that used to the car, and the other one, Cristiano, just more used to it and able to brake later. Most definitely looked very weird, but in the end, thankfully, not too much damage done.
So, Nicola Cocci setting another fastest lap, and he still holds it by about half a second over Freesia. This has been his race to lose. He still has to go 8 more circuits around, but he's got 14.5 seconds over Freesia and Seppa. We hop on board with the Finn one more time. We were watching briefly as well just before. It was Hopdahl and Reed fighting for 4th place, kind of separated into 2 pairs here for 2nd and 3rd and 4th and 5th. Love how the onboards feel as Severy very deep on the brakes himself. I love how the onboards feel in these Lotus 79s. Just the cars feel raw, and the way that Dougie's set up these cameras really gets that across.
Yeah, most definitely. Just a great job by Dougie to provide us with always very great onboard shots. And look at this. Fritche continues with his small mistakes on the lines.
Oh, and did we get someone passing? I thought I heard some. Yeah, it looks like Williams managed to get a pass on Jack Carrera. I think this may have been set off by a mistake, but things are getting close. We'll have to look at it later, because look at this. Between our 2nd and 3rd place driver, once again, Seppa has it down to 0.2 of a second. He's been seeing the mistakes that Steph has been mentioning. Is that enough to just egg him on to try and make an attack? Not this lap, as he stays behind.
Yeah, and once again, just a great exit by Gernot Fritzsche. I think we have to go on board with Seppa at one time through the Einfahrt Parabolica, because just it's incredible just how much traction Fritzsche has through that off-camber right-left-hand combination. And once again, a little bit of a mistake there by Gernot Fritzsche. Goes off the line quite heavily, misses the apex by a good 3-4 meters. I don't know, I'm not used to Gernot Fritzsche making mistakes.
Yeah, he's been pretty good in seasons past. It's really his only weakness in recent time has been his qualifying, which he's made up for in these past couple of races, and is back on the ball, has gotten used to the car. So I would think that he's a little bit more at ease, but right now, or at least today, the setup of his Renault has been just a little out of sorts, and that's been causing bits and bobbles out of that yellow and white car. Seppa has been desperately trying to get by, but nothing has been getting him close enough that he can actually get the overlap.
Yeah, you're saying it. So Seppa this time around, once again, Einfahrt Parabolica, very close to the rear of Gernot Fritzsche. You have to give it to him. He tries different things through the Einfahrt Parabolica, but every single time it looks like he thinks that he has, yes, I finally got the setup to have a great exit, and then just Gernot Fritzsche still gets that 1-2 car lengths more that he needs to defend against Seppa.
And did we lose Suarez? For some reason, Suarez has been grayed out on my screen. I think he may have lost connection because he has not reappeared yet. We'll get confirmation soon enough from the iRacing Sim if he has unfortunately lost his ones and zeros, as we continue to see Fritzsche and Seppa out into the stadium section, back up to 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, and look at this. Michael the Turk has caught Nicolas Mucanos. Didn't take him long. He's been about a second and a lap faster than Mucanos, and I'm pretty sure this might happen already into the Mercedes Arena. Look at that. Goes to the left side, to the inside of the Mercedes Arena. Mucanos on the outside. Nothing he can do, and I think he kind of gave it to him as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, Nick's a smart driver. I've watched him season after season. I didn't think he would do anything foolish there. And I can give official confirmation that Suarez has lost his internet connection to the sim. He's done for today with a mere few laps to go. That's got to be gutting, having worked so hard in this race. We're 0.2 apart this time. But once again, Fritzsche, with a quicker car in a straight line, is not allowing Seppa to be able to get to the inside of him. And off the corner, he accelerates away, back up to 0.4 of a second. This has been a long battle between these two. Just the entire race has been basically a chess match between the pair.
Yeah, exactly. Severi, it continues the feel I have. It feels like Severi is the faster driver. Once again, a small mistake from Gernot Fritzsche, but it just isn't enough for Seppa to really be there and try for the overtake. It always is that little bit that Gernot Fritzsche still holds over Severi, that he just can't get side by side with him.
So let me put you in Severi's shoes then. We come down to 2 or 1 laps to go, as he's actually got a good run. We'll talk about that later, as he finally takes a little bit of a look. If he can withstand the buffeting through turn 1, he could maybe have something, but no. Once again, the dirty air causes him to fall back through the first corner, and I'm not sure he has it. But I was going to say, Steph, if you're in that cockpit, when it comes to the last few laps, do you just send one in and try and see if it sticks, or do you stay for the third?
Quite honestly, the way I know the Finns, he's probably not going to do it. I think he has the calmness to not do it. It is hard though. You know you're the faster driver. You know you have the ability to brake later as well. And I mean, if you're close enough, but not close enough, if you know what I mean, the temptation most definitely will be there for Severi. The question just is, will he be there, state of mind to make that dive bomb happen? And I think he might just try it.
Watch and see as they come through the Sachs curve. That one looks much tidier for Seppa once again. Keeps closing where he can't do anything though. And this is where he had a little bit of a mistake out of Gernot and got up behind him. And even though he is just about a car length and a half back, it's looking just like it did last lap, where he can't really try and attack. Maybe he could set himself up. Ooh, and there's another little look, just weaving the car to the side, try to put himself into the mirrors. He is trying to psych him out. He's trying to pull every tool out of the box. Oh, but it was a poor exit off of the Parabolica entry.
Yeah, he tried to follow again a feature there, and the problem was he just didn't have the grip on the rear through the left-hander, through the Alpha Parabolica. So yeah, that's why he once again lost a couple of tenths there. And I mean, he might have had him there without that little bit of a slide through the left-hander for Seppa. So just continue on with your ways. You still have 2 more tries through the Parabolica. Maybe your chance will come.
To give you an idea of how far behind the leader they are, though, Kochi's just coming through the south curve right now as they haven't even entered the stadium section. Oof, man. I'm kind of surprised that Frisha hasn't overheated the tires with how many times we've seen that tail wag.
Yeah, but that is the good thing about the chunks that these rear tires are. They just absorb the heat and say, yummy, more please.
Seppa's getting closer and closer. Can he maybe do something with it? Ooh, that was a great exit out of the north curve. Coming down to the Parabolica entry. And this time, can he get the power down? He's trying to, but once again, the car just won't comply, and he falls back. We've seen this distance before, and previous times it didn't work, but oh, we're getting into defense this time, Steph. And Frisha maybe is just covering off in case Seppa goes for the wild dive.
I think that was more just not giving him that little bit of draft the Lotus 79 offers more than anything, if I'm honest. Again, Frisha knows exactly that if he gives him that little bit of draft, he might just be there to think about that dive bomb to the inside of Gernot Fritsch, and I think that's really the reason why he went there to the outside. But question is now, this is the make or break point right here through the infield, through the arena. Will he be able to keep Seppa far away enough through here to keep him away into the Spitzkette?
White flag is out for Kochi. 1 more to go to get his 2nd win of the season. Are we seeing the starts of a championship run, or are we seeing the starts of a potential pass? Seppa's as close as he's been. He's once again going to show himself down into the north curve, but can't quite get there. It is on. The question is, what does Seppa have to try and overtake at the end of the race with a car that has been used up? Down through the Parabolica. He's got the slipstream, but he's 3/10 back, and once again, Frisha, instead of trying to break the draft, he's trying to pull the draft as he goes by Fabio in the 20 car. Way too far behind for the 4 down into the Spitzkette. It's not over. A little bit of a mistake like he's had previously will bring Seppa back into things, but he just has to withstand this pressure for a few more corners. And
this isn't over until they're at the Sud curve, I can already tell you that.
And Nicola Kochi's coming to that Sud curve right now. The number 2 car has led since the start, and it's been a dominant performance with a victory for the Italian here in Germany. Nicola Kochi wins at Hockenheim. Behind them, Frisha has Seppa all over his gearbox. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything from here, though. As long as Gernot is smooth off the corner, he's got this second place wrapped up, and that's the case. What a run from Gernot to hold off the Finn that entire way as they round out the podium, and Hovdal gets himself a quiet fourth.
And you might have seen it on the top right of your screens with the last lap. Nicola Kochi, another dominant lap, 26.777. Just completely destroyed the opposition here today.
18 cars look like they are going to finish this race, but only 15 on the lead lap. And Mukanos, who we see on screen, might just be our hard charger. I'll have to double check the math on it, but from 17th to 9th is a pretty good day for him, just ahead of Paul Williams, who follows him to the line. That is it for all of our battles out on the track. That means it's time to take a quick break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12-Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Hockenheim. We just watched round 4 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, and it was Nicola Kochi who took the win after starting from the pole and scampering away from the field. Behind him, separated by 0.2 of a second at the line, and barely bigger than that the entire race, Frisha took P2. There's that number again, and Seppa wound up third. Hovdal finished in fourth with Timothy Reed in P5. You've got Thomas Torp finishing sixth with Soom. Another quiet race out there. He was 7-3 positions up as the Turk wound up only recovering to 8th. The Nick Mukanos was indeed a hard charger, up by 8 positions into 9th, and Williams rounds out your top 10.
Now you're saying Mukanos is the official hard charger, the real hard charger, though probably Michael the Turk in that 8th place. 11th place went to John Tackerbury, started from 16th, so also no small feat for him. Cristiano Corrini, he started in 11th place, so lost only 1 position. Miguel Molet, the second hardest charger here today, up 7 positions, started in 19th, finished in 13th. Thomas Delmuth, 14th place for him, so also a very good result. And Javier Mosquera, 15th place for him. That's exactly where he started, and he's also the last car on the lead lap. Barry West, first car, 1 lap down in 16th. Fabio Guerrero, 17th. Oriol Serrat, 18th. Jack Correa in 19th, 2 laps down. And that is already the last car to finish here today, with Pablo Suarez 7 laps down, leading the list of retirees.
Yep, there you see the rest of them on your screen that unfortunately didn't see the checkered flag, but the man who saw that checkered flag first was Nicola Cocci, who I think might be leading the points championship after this, as we pull him in to talk about that race. Nicola, after a perhaps disappointing 10th place out at Canada, I have to say this one's got to feel good because you controlled that from beginning to end. Hey, Nicola, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, it was a good race, of course. I had a little, a huge little scare because in the middle of the race, I did the last sector wrong. So I hit a high curb very, very hard. And I felt the car kind of immediately stopping improving lap after lap. So I thought I had broke the floor, and in this car, you know that it's basically the whole downforce that you can get is all from the floor. And I was watching the relative because I thought my car was damaged somehow, and I thought Gernot, it was little by little, like a few tenths gaining on me. But maybe it was just like me being nervous and not focused enough, because after a while I was able to open the gap again. So I guess the car was fine after all.
Yeah, and clearly it was. We didn't even catch that incident because we kept seeing fastest lap after fastest lap. So were you pushing 100% the entire way?
Yeah, because of this doubt that I had on the health of my car. I thought that I had no other way of playing this, because if I was going to lose time from the second half of the race, I needed to push it every lap, because otherwise I was going to be in trouble. I had less than 10 seconds of a gap, so it's very easy for with this car kind of breaking it and lose a lot, half a second or even more, even without any visible damage. And this is something that I always struggle a bit with this car, because it's hard to understand when the car is broken or is damaged or not, and we don't have a tool for that, so we have to only judge by our opinion, basically.
Now, I'm kind of curious, since it's starting to look a little bit like a championship run potentially, and you're running that Warsteiner car, are you a little sad that it might not happen in the Scarlet Red?
Well, no, not really. I never been like a very hardcore Ferrari fan anyway, so I like the brand and everything, but I always I only had two drivers in my life that I was very cheering a lot, and one was Senna and the other was Noriyuki Aga. So only those two. So no, Senna never been in Ferrari, so I was never be able to. I had a chance to cheer for Ferrari before.
I'm sure there was a collective audible gasp over in Italy, but congratulations on your second win of the season. Anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank Alessandro Parigi, because he gave me his setup and the car was great today. So thanks to him, and thanks for everybody else that showed up for the race, because this is a little bit of a hard time for the Lotus CTC Championship, because of the summer, because of a lot of things going on. So I want to thank him and all the guys that were racing today.
That was Nicola Cocci, our winner, as it looks like we've got our second place finisher, Gernot Frische, ready to join us. Let's pull him in, and I believe, Steph, you've caught up with our podium finisher.
Yeah, Gernot, it's a second place, but it must feel like a win with how hard you had to fight against Seppo for that second place.
Hi, Stefan. Yeah, definitely. I think that was the optimum result for me. Nicola was on a completely other level than the other cars. So P2 is about the maximum that was possible and so on. I have to be really happy with that.
Yeah, has to be happy with that quite nicely. Now, one thing we have noticed from your car, hopefully you can go into a little bit of detail there. You were extremely fast out of the slow corners. And also your gearing seemed to be sounding a little bit different than the others. What was your thinking going into Hockenheim? How did you set up your car?
Well, it's hard for me to compare because I don't know what the other guys have been running. I used to be really slow here last season, so I felt like I had to change something on the old setup. And yeah, in the beginning I tried to optimize top speed. So in the race before the broadcast race, I was running really low downforce and was good on the straights, but was a bad compromise for the overall lap time. So yeah, added some more downforce for this one, and it was a surprise setup for me. So I didn't know before the race how things would go. So yeah, in the end it played out really well, and yeah. Severy was a really tough opponent to fight with, but yeah, things went well, so yeah, good race.
Yeah, you two had most definitely quite the different philosophies, it seems like, for this track here today. Obviously, you have the very fast and long straights. You also have the very tight arena section, and Severy most definitely did put an extreme pressure on you through the arena. So it most definitely did not seem like you had everything always under control with how much pressure there was on you.
No, not really. I felt quite confident on the long straight because, yeah, I think top speed was good enough. But yeah, Severy put a lot of pressure on me in the motor drone. So especially coming on the start-finish straight, I was under huge pressure at times, and I didn't know if he was willing to send it into the first corner. Yeah. He played it safe. I did the same, so I think it's a good result for both of us in the end, and for Nicola as well. He did really well this week.
Yeah, it most definitely did a great thing. Now, to lead you off here with, give us a little bit of an outlook on Road Atlanta.
Oh, it's Road Atlanta coming up. Yeah, it's a really good track because it's a track that's not very forgiving. So if you make a major mistake, you basically end up in the wall, and there are many blind corners. So it's really challenging. And on the other hand, it's also a rather low downforce track because you have to be really quick on the long straight there. So it's gonna be about finding a good compromise again.
Yeah, so most definitely looking forward to it. Gernot, thank you very much for talking to us, and congrats on your second place / win.
Yeah, thanks as well. So have a nice evening. Congrats to Nicola, cheering for the Italian team tonight. So yeah, we'll see how things go. So bye-bye.
So even Gernot reached the German cheering on the Italian in the Euro 2020 finale. And Joe, finally, I have to say, after the death of Carlos Reutemann, who was a Lotus 79 driver, I think these guys put on a great show for a great driver.
Really did. It was a testament to an incredible vehicle. And let's close out as we give a thank you to the Lotus 79 community themselves for bringing us on so we could give more coverage to such a fantastic series. Also, thanks to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And thanks to the team today, Steph, Ryan, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media listed on the screen. Also, check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC. We keep a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment, because next week we'll have Road Atlanta Sunday, July 11th at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. But we have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out, mark them down on your calendar. And happening right now is the Euro Majors. The Rallycross cars are at hell. So if you don't enjoy that, though, and you want a little more American twist, we have the America's Majors Crandon World Cup at 8 p.m. Eastern. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.